Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevating Your Life. And we're going to be elevated today. This is going to be a fantastic conversation. I have with us today Dr. Miriam Zylberglait, and she is a triple board certified physician in internal medicine, geriatrics, and obesity medicine with extensive clinical and academic experience. Miriam is interested in the areas of well-being, burnout, mental health, and leadership development. She is the author of The 3G Cycle of Life, The Secrets to Achieving Joy, Meaning, and Well-Being, a fantastic book. She completed a fellowship in leadership, education, and development, and certification as mental health ally and training as physician wellness advocate. Dr. Z, Miriam, has been recognized for multiple achievements, including Mentor of the Year, AMWA 2021, and American College of Physicians Young Achiever 2017. Oh, I'm just so grateful to have you on the show. Welcome. Welcome, Miriam.
Thank you so much for having me. But I believe that we are missing the most important part. I am the mom of two amazing boys, 7 and 9 years old. I have an amazing husband that supports me and tolerates my craziness too.
I love it.
And great parents and a wonderful sister that wonderful friends that have been supporting me during all this journey.
Family is everything, isn't it? It is. Family is everything. Well, first off, tell us, what prompted you to write this book, and then kind of give us an idea of what it's about and what a reader can expect.
So this book started as kind of a process of venting, really. This book didn't start for the right reasons, and I need to admit that. I was very upset, frustrated during the times of COVID with what's going on. Beyond COVID per se, of course, the suffering, but what we were seeing as physicians, the broken healthcare system, the levels of burnout, depression, suicide in doctors, nurses. COVID really opened a Pandora box, and just to clarify, the big problem and the part that was for me more painful is that the numbers and the magnitude of the problem was not necessarily related to COVID. All these high numbers of suicide, depression, etc., were coming from before. And I was not aware, to be sincere. I was as blinded as everybody else. So the first step that I went through is to educate myself. And that's how I got these certifications. And later, I started to join podcasts and write small articles, trying to, raise awareness and kind of move the floor for everyone else. And that's how the book started. What happened during the process of writing the book, that was a process, a multi-level process, because I had to investigate, do research and learn, and also do kind of an introspective journey and interview people in medicine and outside of medicine. What happened is that I discovered myself. And I am not that angry person. I am not the one that wants to vent. I am not a negative soul. I am actually the opposite. So during the process of writing, I changed the book from being everything about venting and being upset and the broken system and burnout to having just one chapter about burnout and having 21 extra chapters about hope and ways to avoid burnout or recover from burnout and live successful, happy lives full of well-being instead of complaining and being victims and being negative souls. And that's really how the book, grow in a different way, not as I was expected.
Yes, yes. And you mentioned, some of the components the 3G plan consists of: goal, grit, growth. Explain those a little bit to us, please.
Yeah, so during the transformation of the book, when I was trying to change this from a negative perspective to a positive perspective, I went back to my roots. And I have been always called a resilient person. And many of us in medicine, we are. We just bounce back and bounce back. And it's like it's a mechanism of keep surviving, I guess, during the stress. But I don't know how I was able to do it. I just did it again and again and again. And I thought that now during COVID and with all the extremes that we were touching with our hands, we were really living in unprecedented times. We were really seeing suffering in front of us and not having even idea of what will happen later. The lucky me that is able to bounce back again and again. I didn't know really if I will have that power this time. I didn't know if that magical resilience, magical formula that I didn't even understood will be working. And the process of trying to understand how do I do it, how do I replicate this now that I need it the most, and how do I share this power with others is how I got to the 3G cycle. And what I discovered is that I start everything with goals. I am very good setting goals, and I am very strict with myself. I keep going after my goals. And I have this, which is the first G, and then I have this grit, internal energy, and this fuel that keeps me going. But what I understood also is that, especially during difficult times, is that sometimes I lose this energy and I don't have it. I am tired, I am exhausted, but the energy keeps going. And what happens is that I get it from others. And that's the part where we start being vulnerable, and this vulnerability helps us to get the support of those that are cheerleading us from outside, that are coaching us and helping us. And that's the second G, grit, that could be internal or external. And last and not least is supposedly we will close the cycle and we will achieve the goal. But reality is that we not necessarily achieve our goals all the time. Sometimes because we are not ready. It's just like that. You were not ready for the challenge, and you need to go on the cycle again and try again, like in a video game, right? You go back to the same level and you learn the new tricks to navigate that level of the video game. You learn, and finally you go to level 2, same with a cycle. Sometimes because you don't care anymore. I wanted a red Ferrari when I was 18, but now that I am a mom and I have to transport my kids to soccer and, to ride their bicycles, a van is a very good, car for me. So I didn't fail. I just changed my reality. I adapted to who I am right now, and I changed my goal. And sometimes you achieve your goals, and that's great. Celebrate and move on. And that's why I think that the end of the cycle is not achieving the goal, but actually the next G, which is grow. We have the opportunity, no matter what happens, if we achieve or not the goal, if we change our goal and our trajectory, we have the opportunity to learn, to develop new skills, to develop new friendships, to know more about ourselves and our superpowers, and to create better opportunities for us to be a better version of ourselves for the next challenge.
Oh, I love
and that is the 3G.
Yes. And when you say that, it happens and can be so possible in our life, we can be focused on a certain goal, but due to challenges or just new perspectives, our direction can change because we realize we want a different goal and we're going to grow this way. So it really is wonderful to just kind of be open to, yes, this is my goal, I'm going to work for it, but yes, what other possibilities may I manifest? So, with the 3G, I love that. The growth, it can really go in any direction, can't it? It's like a tree with many branches.
Yes, and it's a non-ending cycle, really, because uh, even we close one cycle, the cycle of life keeps open for the next cycle to come. And I even created this concept of there we have these mesocycles, these big cycles, right? Like being a kid, being an adolescent, being an adult. So where there are things specific for these episodes of our life, we have these small little cycles, like learning how to, I don't know, use the bicycle, right? And all the things that you do until you finally you can drive that bicycle and enjoy it, and you celebrate this like you got, I don't know, the lottery. I saw my kids just a few weeks ago, like jumping around and celebrating their goal, right? An
Yeah.
important goal, an important achievement. And life is like that. We have a small cycles, we have big cycles, and we keep going. But if you think about the concept of cycles versus this linear way, the fact that you can go around and don't feel that you are failing reduce a lot of the stress. You are never failing. You are just adapting to the new reality. You are not able to achieve this at the first attempt, but you have a second one. Nobody's closing that cycle for you except that you decide to close it and change it. But
Oh,
but you can keep going. And I believe that thinking in that way reduce the guilt, reduce the stress, the fear of failure. So we will feel more comfortable trying. We will be able to jump into a pool knowing that at least some water will be waiting for us.
yeah.
Uh, and that will allow us to have better lives, because living on fear, living on guilt, living on stress, and consider ourselves as failure, or at risk of failure, it's very difficult. It's living with your own enemy, right? With your worst enemy that is inside of yourself.
Right, that can weigh us down. And I love that analogy. Instead of the straight line, cycles. We just go through cycles. You know, that's a great analogy. That's a great
And
way
nature
to
is
vision
like that.
getting moving on and growing.
And nature is like that. I mean, this is nothing that is totally out of nowhere. Just think about medicine or science, nature, right? Day and night, the years, uh, our periods in the case of women, right? Pollination, the way that we create energy in our body, the cycle of Krebs. Uh, all are cycles with specific components, some catalysts, right, that accelerate the process or make the process a little slower, like in our lives. We have those catalysts too. You are healthy, you are rich, you have a high emotional intelligence or a high IQ. Life will be probably a little easier, or at least, more direct, and versus maybe you have a medical condition or a disability, or you are immigrant, like in my case, and you have an accent, right? Life may be a little more challenging. But what is beautiful about this concept is that these catalysts, the good ones are great to have them, right? They allow you to go through life like in an easy way. But those that are challenging, those that you really don't want sometimes, and you are like, oh my gosh, why me? Those are the ones that allow you to grow. Those are the ones that allow you to develop the skills, to discover who you are for real, who are your friends, who are those that are surrounding you.
Yeah.
And I believe that instead of running away from them, we need to kind of embrace them and ask, what can I do with this? How do I transform this challenge into something positive? How do I get better after this?
Yes, because those things, challenges can be transformed into something positive, can't they? And,
Yes.
and they can bring us more gratitude for what the positive in our life. I mean, it can do so many things.
And there's this concept in positive psychology that is called post-traumatic growth. And I love positive psychology. Even I am not a psychologist, but my sister is. So she's the one that actually introduced me to this topic. And what is beautiful about positive psychology is like we are not inside of the hole trying to analyze what happened with our darkness. We try to find out how we go out of the darkness and find some positive life and opportunities. And for positive psychology, post-traumatic growth goes beyond resilience. When we think about, for example, COVID, we were in a baseline with whatever was our baseline. This was our life. We collapsed, which is normal. Why you will not collapse if you are in a crisis, whatever the crisis is. Let's use example of COVID. All of us will recognize COVID as a trauma. And then if you are not emotional intelligent, if you have certain disabilities, if you don't get the support, probably you could stay in that hole and have post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, right? And for a long time, if not forever, with all the negative consequences that this may bring. But if you are what we call resilient, you will be able to bounce back and go to your baseline. For positive psychology, resilience is not necessarily the end of the road. They have this positive or this post-traumatic growth. That means that after bounce passing to your baseline, you are able still to keep going up. And you are using adversity in your favor, and you are learning something new, developing something new, and you transform yourself in a more updated, upgraded version of you. And what is magical about this concept, and for me is incredible, because when I was interviewing more than 30 people for the book, I was able to actually see this happen, and it was real, is that not only that they bounce back and they go up and they grow, but then they transform into mentors, into role models, into individuals that will change society, that will have a positive impact for others. And that's an awesome transformation. They didn't stay with just themselves. It was not a selfish growth. It's a very interesting altruistic growth. It's spectacular, and it's inspiring too.
Yes, yes. To see others go from, having these challenges and growing through them, and then they become amazing mentors because they've experienced what others are at an earlier phase.
Yeah, and you can see that internal power is so interesting. I interview, and I was very lucky to interview people from 4 different continents in different ranges of ages, cultures, and genders, careers. So from medical students to TED talkers, journalists, athletes, Wall Street people, even a young lady that during a crisis ended going and transforming into a Buddhist nun. And all these stories, no matter how traumatic they were, because each story is very different. And we can talk about cancer in one case, and we can talk about losing a kid by suicide or getting your house burned. They are so different in so many ways. But the outcome is so similar. It's this beautiful transformation. It's like a butterfly, right? You go into a cocoon first, and that place looks like constrictive and probably is I don't know, cold and uncomfortable for the caterpillar and very dark. And what you see after a few days is this beautiful butterfly full of colors, able to fly and able to, create a ripple effect of happiness around her.
Oh, that must have been amazing to interview and meet so many people with so many different experiences. Oh my gosh.
Has been humbling, has been an experience for me also to learn. I was going through very difficult times when I reached out to them, and each of them came with different type of solutions. So I navigate from yoga to mindfulness to typical medicine, exercise, and I was able to embrace all all of these techniques, of course, using some kind of science behind. I bring into the book meta-analysis and data to explain how our brains function and what's the science behind all the stories and why we are seeing what we are seeing. So it's not just very abstract, but it was very humbling, and for me, many of them became not only good friends and family, but also mentors, and I learned things from them, and I am practicing a lot of the things that I have right now in the book because I learned them while I was writing the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Excellent.
and the book is so transparent. But I will tell you, this chapter was very difficult. I was having that's true, by the way. I was having a very bad week when I was talking about happiness, and I am supposed to give my complete chapter, to my editor in a couple of days, and I am crying because my mom is not doing well, and I didn't see happiness at that moment. Like, happiness was part of my life, and I have to write this chapter, and I was calling some of my friends and trying to find out, how do we how do I do this
I
exactly?
finished this.
And that's part of the chapter, is how I was searching for happiness when I was not feeling happy, and I have been trying to be very vulnerable. I don't want to present a perfect person because I am not a perfect person, and the perfect person does not exist. I am not trying to say that everything will work for everybody, and that this is 100%, true for everybody. This is just my journey, trying to find a better quality of life, trying to learn from others, trying to escape burnout. There are things that I am doing very well now, and I'm very proud of myself. There are things that I have so much area of improvement. And I am open to say that because we need to know that this will not be easy. This is something that will not happen like this. And I rather to manage the expectations, others' expectations, in my own expectations, so I avoid being frustrated. The worst thing could be is like, you think that magically you will be, someone doing this and that, and doesn't happen. So you will say, nah, I don't do this anymore. No, it will take effort. It will take time. But we can go there. We can get to a point where we have better lives, and where we can really enjoy and
Yes.
and treat ourselves the way that we deserve to be treated, because we cannot expect this to happen or to come from others. We need to start treating ourselves in the way that we want to be treated.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And something that I was really touched by was, be the writer of your book, be the editor of your story, and be the principal actor of your life. I love that. Love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was watching a movie that I dislike. I was watching a movie of suffering. I was watching a movie full of bystanders, full of people closing their eyes, ignoring, um, a, a movie with abuse and neglection. And I am not that type of person. And I don't want to ignore others, and I don't want to ignore myself either. And I don't want to be a victim of my life or the circumstances. Yeah, life could be very difficult, and I am I am a witness in many levels of that. But the truth is that we can control what happens to us in many levels. Sometimes we cannot change the reality, right? We cannot change the weather for sure. And maybe we cannot change the politicians and I don't know, so many things that are probably out of our control. But complaining and being victims will not change it either. So we need to change our approach. We need to change the way that we react. We need to readdress situations and find ways to live our life in a better way. And sometimes doing nothing and supposedly being bystanders is not doing nothing. You are taking a decision when you take the decision of not doing something.
True. Yes.
Right? So I will not get there. I will not interfere. This is not my problem. No, this is your problem. You are there, you are aware. And I want to empower people, because being an adult and being part of a society comes with the benefits, especially when we live in democracy, with the benefit of being able to take decisions, right? And to claim that we have rights, but comes with responsibility. And sometimes being a victim is easier than being a responsible adult, because when we are victims, everybody else is guilty of, and we are guilty. We are the victims, and this, we can't blame others. We are just victims. When you are a responsible adult, you are the responsible, you are the guilty of something going wrong, or you are the one that needs to be proud of something going right. And that's the part that we need to start embracing. We can not continue our life blaming others.
Because we all have an effect on everyone around us. You know, our attitude, our energy, our caring, our kindness. We really do. We really do. With a few minutes left in the show, dear, please share your website and, you know, what last message you want to give to everyone, what you'd like to leave them with today.
So my website is www.3gcycle.live, L-I-V-E. And you can find me in LinkedIn, Dr. C, MD. Please contact me. The last message is probably the most important message for me, and it's something very close to my heart. And it's something that my kid told me when he was 7, right now he's 9. This is your life. This is your choice. This is your journey. Embrace it. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of the life that you have. Don't be a bystander. You can write your own book, and do it with, you know, with all your energy, with all your heart, and let others that are around you to support you and to help you. We can do much better.
Yes, yes. Oh, here's to us all writing our own book, being our own true, beautiful self. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was really great. And I love your book, and really grateful to you, my dear. Love, hugs, and blessings.
Thank you so much.
And everyone out there, love, hugs, and blessings. And I will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.